Let's shift gears. Let's talk some Alabama football as the Crimson Tide continues preparation for its New Year's Day matchup with the Michigan Wolverines in the Citrus Bowl down there in Orlando. Cecil, I know we were both going out on Monday to the media viewing periods that kicked off Alabama's on-campus work for that matchup with UM. Going out there, sort of your expectation in terms of the roster and who would be on the practice field and who wouldn't in regards to draft decisions and that being a part of the process. In your opinion, did Alabama come out of that about as well as could have been hoped, given the number of guys that potentially could have made that choice to not play in the game?
Probably so, and especially, it certainly doesn't help the defense, but to keep that offense intact, that offensive line, that set of receivers, and to have all that at your disposal for the game and to keep that continuity of offensive practice, I think that's big. I think it'll be big for Mac Jones, and it'll give Michigan some things to think about defensively, some things to work on. Now, offensively, it's fine. Defensively, there's still some guys, some of whom, Anthony Jennings, Patrick Surtain, who you sort of knew going into the season, and there's a couple of new guys. Christian Barmore has come on. The linebackers are gradually making progress, but it's not the defense that Alabama thought they would have, and now they're two down. They probably, and I saw this. I think Jimmy Stein had this, but of the 11 guys that you on the first day of practice when they walked in there in August, if you'd said this is my starting defense, out of those 11 guys, I think they'll have 5 on the field against Michigan. DJ Dale would have been one of those who just doesn't sound like his injuries going to allow him to play. Moses, McMillan, LeBrian Ray, and now Lewis and Diggs. That's not much experience on defense. So we'll see what Josh Gaddis can do.
Yeah, with that offense now up there at Michigan, the former Alabama wide receivers coach, probably looking forward to trying to attack that Alabama defense with Shea Patterson at the quarterback position.
Yeah, and I think the only way you can look at it for Alabama is see how some of these young guys do. Barmore, I think, will be fine. But, King Matika or Justin Boygby or all the young linebackers, Harris and Lee, and just see how they do and see what they can do with Michigan. Not the most I think Michigan certainly got some talent on offense, and Shea Patterson's a good quarterback, probably not the most explosive offense that you could be playing somewhere in a bowl game, but a good offense for Michigan. And I think it's funny the way things have turned out with the playoff games being on the 28th. As far as New Year's Day games, the Citrus Bowl and in the New Year's 6th, but it's right at the next level. But I think this is the best game of the day on New Year's. Certainly the brand names are big as you can get, and it's an intriguing matchup.
I think there are a lot of people think it's a top 3 bowl matchup overall, New Year's 6 included.
Right.
Only behind really the playoff matchups. In terms of, as you said, brand, programs that resonate, those type of things, no doubt with Alabama and Michigan there. And you also, the kind of the shame of that whole thing is that you're going to have Auburn and Minnesota playing at exactly the same time. That's a game that I think a lot of people will be interested in too. Yeah,
and this is no knock on the 2019 teams at either place, but casual football guy walking into the Wings place in Buffalo, you got Alabama, Michigan, or Auburn, Minnesota. Where do you want the TV?
He's not going to want to row, that average Joe. Cecil, he's not going to keep rowing.
There'll be a few
with PJ.
There'll be a few PJ fans, a few Gus fans, but I'm just saying,
Yeah. No, he's going to want to roll instead of row. I get what you're saying, no doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Alabama's playing Michigan. I'm going to watch that.
Absolutely.
I don't know if we're going to bump into any Notre Dame people who are down there for the Camping World or not.
Oh, my gosh. Well, you got the Cure Bowl down there, too. You know,
yeah.
I mean, you've got about 27 bowl games in Orlando now. What I do like about the Cure game that I think is maybe even this afternoon, the bowl games are starting so early now because there's so many of them. What I do like about that game is they're actually playing it in the MLS stadium in Orlando instead of the Citrus Bowl. And I think some of these games, if they have access to some of those 20, 25, 30,000, I know there's regulations involved and things like that. There should be more of those games in those MLS stadiums, Cecil.
Yeah.
I'm dying on that hill. I'm going to die on it.
Bahamas Bowl is in that kind of stadium, too.
Yeah.
Where you get 20,000 in there and they make some racket and it's all right.
It's made for TV anyway. You know, we just need a live studio audience, as they always said on The Price is Right. That's all we need, Cecil. Hey, let's talk about some additions to this Alabama program. And I think you touched on it too, because you know, for some of these young guys that are going to get opportunities now, it's not just about playing well in the bowl game. There's got to be a sense of urgency at some of these spots with the latest haul that we saw from Nick Saban largely completed yesterday. There'll still be a few more added by February. But, yeah, at some positions of need specifically yesterday, Cecil, what did you like most about that group?
Edge guys and linebackers, I think, probably if you said one group. Again, quarterback is independent of all that, and everything is so centered on quarterback at this point in college football. Look at the 4 playoff teams, look at the 4 quarterbacks, and that tells you how important it is to have one of the projections aren't perfect, but at quarterback they tend to be pretty good. And I would say, you know, Bryce Young and the kid that signed at Clemson, those are the top 2. Probably. We'll see how Carson Beck works out at Georgia. But certainly as far as the best high school year, Bryce Young, far and away, would be the National Offensive Player of the Year, I would think. So if you can sign one of those, that's key for your recruiting year, right there. It keeps you in the hunt if they are as projected, and I think Bryce will be. Doesn't mean he'll step in the spring and win the job, but he'll compete for it. That's for sure. And so you got that piece in place, and that's critical. Beyond that, I think that they really needed to shore up at linebacker and at edge, and we'll see what they do with Drew Sanders, the athlete out of Texas, out of Denton. But, you know, if you say, well, Sanders and Braswell are your edge guys, and Kennedy and Robinson, Jackson Bratton are your inside guys, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good group of linebackers. I don't know what they'll specifically be targeting. Some of it depends on what's available. For the late period, I would think one more OL, one more DL, for sure, and a tight end, a super athletic type tight end. They did sign Caden Clark, who I think is more of a block first tight end yesterday, but I think that would be the 3 positions that you'd look for: one more offensive lineman, one more defensive lineman, for sure. I don't see where they certainly don't need another running back.
I think they're good.
I think they're solid there. How that's going to shake out, I have no idea. We'll see. You know, who comes in the spring. You know, that's first of all, that's a position where you can play pretty quickly if you're good to go. So that's going to be a pretty interesting group to see if Trey Sanders is back at 100%, which they anticipate. That's why the flip from Oklahoma yesterday surprised me. Not that Alabama can't, go and recruit guys, but he's coming in with 2 other pretty highly rated guys. And so they're, not afraid of none of them afraid of the competition. Roy Dale, I've seen. Roy Dale's good. I mean, he's really good. So,
this wasn't going to Hattiesburg and taking away USM centerpiece recruit. You know, I mean, this was going to OU and taking Jace McClellan, a highly rated 4-star.
Yeah, a guy that's in the conversation. Some say Zach Evans, some say Jace for the best running back in Texas.
Yeah. No doubt. Hey, Cecil, before we let you go here, shortly after the signing of Bryce Young was made official, we saw a tweet from Tua. Decisions. Get out that magic 8 ball, Cecil. Get out that 8 ball. Is that a yes, a maybe, a no coming from Tua, or is it still just a situation, in your opinion, where he's very much in the decision-making process about whether or not to come back or go?
I think he's in the decision-making process. What we don't know, even from the time that Tua met with the media a couple of weeks ago now, and I had a chance to sit down with him. His representatives, not him probably, but his people connected with him, they're hearing from NFL teams, and we just don't know what they're hearing. And so you don't know, when he says decisions, you don't know what all the factors on the table for him are. But, the biggest element of it is going to be if an NFL team tells him they're going to make him a top 10 pick or a top 15 pick, maybe. I'm sure he's got a number in mind. Do you trust that team? I think that's the biggest issue. I think Tua will still go reasonably high in the first round. I just think it's always a seller's market if you're a quarterback. The NFL is always looking to buy.
Oh, no doubt. And that's tough too, because what you hear in December isn't before so many of these clubs are just fully overtaken by new quarterback fever, which typically seems to ramp up as you get into February, March, and heading into that April draft. Well, as
everybody who misses playoffs will want a new quarterback.
Oh, absolutely. I can tell you one team, even though they've got Gardner mania and all that, I'd be fine with Tua and Teal. Let's put it that way. Hey, Cecil, great stuff as always.
I'm watching the Steelers the other night, and they got to get somebody in the pipeline, don't they?
Oh, they do. Yeah, everybody loves Duck. It's a great story.
Ben's going to come back, but what's Ben's time frame? At this point, and that's just one team. You could take any of the others and say the same, more or less. What about Tua in Steel City?
Oh, yeah, that would go over pretty good up there, I would think. Hey, we got to run, Cecil. As always, we appreciate it, my man.
All right, good to talk to you.